Good evening, I'm Ces Oreña-Drilon.
I'm Pauline Verzosa.
And I'm Shawn Yao.
The big stories tonight. Typhoon Tino has left massive death and destruction in only 3 days of onslaught, with almost 100 people reported killed. And yet there's another typhoon to prepare for, and it's expected to be even more damaging.
And probably the hardest hit by the typhoon is Cebu, which was inundated for hours. We asked urban planner Paulo Alcazarin later on what caused the massive flooding in the province.
And resigned Congressman Zaldy Co has hired a lawyer who said that his client is now, quote, deathly afraid and won't be coming home or coming forward anytime soon.
Pero pag sinabi ngayon kasama kayo sa listahan ng mga barangay na iyon, nararapat po talaga na sumunod tayo at lumikas tayo. Merong mga lugar na hindi naman po binabaha, so hindi po lumilikas, pero ngayon binabaha na po. Ang pinag-uusapan na ay yung paghahanda rin natin dito sa susunod na bagyo. Mas magiging malakas ito kumpara dito sa bagyong Tino. And we only have 3 days to prepare for that.
Typhoon Tino is already on its way out of the country, but in its wake is a death toll reported at almost 100, although the National Government Council has so far verified 85. Most of the fatalities were from Cebu province, and many victims of fallen debris, landslides and flooding. 75 remain missing while 17 are injured. Again, the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, or NDRRMC, noted that there could be more casualties. They are still collating data from different regions affected by Tino's onslaught. The typhoon has swept, among others, Visayas, Mimaropa, the Bicol region, Negros Island, and Caraga. Down south, dozens of fatalities came from Villa del Rio subdivision in Barangay Bakayan, Cebu City. Images from the area earlier went viral, including vehicles submerged in floodwaters and later on covered by mud. President Bongbong Marcos is set to visit Cebu tomorrow to check on the situation there. But there's no rest for the Office of Civil Defense just yet, which only has a few days to prepare for the next typhoon.
Some of these areas ay hindi pa nakaranas na magbahain sila, no? Ang pinag-uusapan na dapat makarating sa ating mga local government units at lalo na sa ating general public, no, ay yung paghahanda rin natin dito sa susunod na bagyo. Ang sinasabi kasi Cheryl ng Pag-asa, mas magiging malakas ito kumpara dito sa bagyong Tino. And we only have 3 days to prepare for that. Merong mga lugar na hindi naman po binabaha, so hindi po lumilikas, pero ngayon binabaha na po.
And included in the NDRRMC death toll were 6 crew members of the ill-fated Air Force Super Huey chopper, whose remains have already been recovered by authorities. The helicopter was on a damage assessment and disaster response mission during Typhoon Tino when it crashed in the vicinity of Loreto, Agusan del Sur yesterday morning. The victims aboard the chopper were 2 pilots and 4 crew members. The Office of Civil Defense and the Air Force have extended their condolences to the families of the fallen airmen. The Air Force is still investigating the cause of the crash.
A thorough investigation has been initiated to determine the cause of the accident. The Philippine Air Force expresses its deepest concern and sympathy for the families of the pilots and the crew, and assures them of its full support and assistance during this difficult time.
Now on to our latest weather update. Typhoon Tino is over the West Philippine Sea currently, but is still intensifying as it moves farther away from the landmass. Tino's last recorded location is east-northeast of Pag-asa Island in Kalayaan, Palawan. It now has gustiness of up to 170 kilometers per hour. Signals number 4 and 3 have been terminated with the Kalayaan Island group under signal number 2. Signal number 1 is up over Occidental Mindoro and the rest of Palawan. Tino is already poised to exit the country by tonight or early tomorrow morning. But even then, Pag-asa is warning of possible storm surges in low-lying coastal areas in Palawan. The State Weather Bureau is also closely monitoring the new cyclone that is forecast to enter the Philippine area of responsibility and will have the local name Uwan. At the moment, the new disturbance is packing tropical depression strength and is still within the vicinity of Guam. The cyclone is almost stationary over water, which means it could be gathering more strength. And this is why Pag-asa is predicting super typhoon strength for Juan once it enters the Philippine area of responsibility this weekend. Landfall is expected on Monday over at either northern or central Luzon.
And now we'll be talking about the widespread damage Typhoon Tino has caused, especially in Cebu. And we have an expert with us, Paulo Alcazaren, a landscape architect, environmental planner, and urban designer. You must have been shocked by the images of what you saw
Yes,
in Cebu.
of course. I'm Cebuano, so thoughts and prayers to everyone there. But yes, it's a bit of a shock to see all of the people who were affected and died because of all of this. I mean, the problems had been building up over the years, of course. And Metro Cebu has roughly the same problems as Metro Manila, so a slightly smaller scale. But it was expected that
It was bound to happen.
it was bound to happen.
Okay. List the mistakes.
Well, it's the same as Metro Manila,
Too much urbanization.
urbanization, deforestation of the uplands, the drainage systems that are clogged up and unmaintained, and then the interventions of the DPWH that, in the light of findings by the DNR, actually don't work. That means the lining of the river revetments with concrete actually do more harm than good, according to USEC CP David. And I've been traveling around Cebu this past 3 years, ever since COVID lifted, and I've seen Cebu is linear, no, north to south, so it has
Just
a
one
mountain
straight
ridge.
highway.
One straight island and one up ridge, which falls on either side. So Metro Cebu has several rivers that flow from the ridge down to the water, the straits and the bay. So if this drainage lines are clogged, if the rivers are lined by substandard revetments, then things are bound to go wrong.
So this should be a wake-up call, because the nature, the use of nature-based solutions
NBS,
is
yes.
not uppermost in the minds of
Yeah.
government officials, because walang pera ba dyan? O paano ba? Walang komisyon.
Don't, you're saying that. I mean,
No, I'm asking.
well, it's not the
It's
default.
cheaper, no? It's cheaper pa.
NBS is often less expensive than concrete, of course. And nature-based solutions are the more sustainable solutions. But it's not always doable in some areas, especially with high urbanization. So
There
the
could be
buildings,
a hybrid.
it can be it has to be a hybrid, but it has to be done based on a master plan.
But Paulo, that's what I wanted to ask, because meron pa bang atrasan for a very urbanized city like Cebu City? I mean, obviously, if we want to use the NBS like Ridge to Reef, we've been talking about that a lot on the show, versus, the more modern interventions like containment chambers. Can it be mixed? Or pwede
Yeah,
pa bang,
hybrid.
may magagawa pa ba tayo? Kasi punong-puno na talaga eh.
It's a cocktail of solutions, and really we have to go back to the problem of the lack of coordinated planning with
Yes.
the LGUs, especially Metro Cebu is 6 cities and 7 towns compared to Manila's 17. But the coordination is still lacking, and then of course normally DPWH has their own agenda and often are lacking in coordination with the LGU, so that has to be addressed.
Should, kasi the political subdivisions of the country
Yes.
are mali eh. Dapat by
By watershed.
Yeah, by watershed.
by
Tama
watershed,
yan.
diba? Para maintindihan.
Tama yan. I mean, it has to be ideally, according to the 18 major river basins and river systems. But you'd have to redraw all of the political boundaries, and none of the politicians will want that.
Kaya nga.
but now the reality is there.
Yeah.
And we have to adjust or really we die. So that's a challenge that faces us politically and socially, of course. But the price that we have to pay is already being paid.
So what do we do now? I mean, there's obviously, we're very centralized, right? Three big cities. You have Manila, Cebu, Davao. But a lot of the country, they're still developing. So may pag-asa pa
Yes.
to use these nature-based solutions, right? But for the, yun nga eh, parang for
It's
the
more
areas...
complicated for the three highly urbanized metropolitan areas, Metro Manila, Metro Cebu, Metro Davao. But it can still be addressed. And like Ces says, it's a hybrid of solutions. But we have to go back, step back, and get a more coordinated metro governance for the three.
Oh, that
So
sounds hard.
it goes back to the political challenge of trying to integrate the three metro regions, or each metro region, so you have a metro governance.
That's why there's a call to bring back the Metro Manila governor.
With full
powers, siguro,
or
oo.
full
Yeah.
coordination powers,
Yeah,
rather
because
than
right now they rotate, or I don't know
well,
what the
in
system
Metro
is.
Manila, they're just in charge of essentially garbage and traffic management. But the development aspect of it was thrown away. They threw the baby with the bathwater out after '86.
Yeah.
So we have to go back to that, or at least get some better coordination between here in Manila for the 17, in Cebu for the 13.
What LGUs are listening to you? Okay, of course you'll say Iloilo. Ano pa yung mga iba?
The secondary cities have less, like you said, Shawn, it's less problematic because
And they
they're
have
smaller,
time.
the
Oo,
population
they
is
have
smaller,
time.
the rate of urbanization is less, but they have most of the same problems, although now better addressed. But we can address all of this with proper planning and coordination.
Well, Paul, earlier you touched on urbanization as one of the causes
Yeah.
of flooding. And I wanted to touch on this viral post of celebrities, later young, pointing to the project Monterazas, the rise of Monterazas in Cebu, as the cause of inundation in Cebu. Do you
I'm
agree?
sorry, did he say that it was the cause of the problem, or?
He pointed to it as one of the reasons why. He said, when a few people started messaging me directly how the Monterazas Cebu was indeed contributing to flooding, I realized that people must be searching the word Monterazas and they see my post, which eerily called out the problem of flooding 2 years ago.
Yeah, so he's saying he's not the problem? His project is not the problem?
Yeah, but
Is
what
it
do you
his
think of-
project?
It is his
No.
project.
Yeah, he has the condominiums, right?
Yes.
Like you're seeing on your screen.
Yes.
We actually featured him on this show a couple of years ago when he was developing this, and it looks kind of like a Banawe Rice Terraces sort of
Yes,
condominium.
that used to be vegetated slope in the uplands of
So that's
Cebu.
problematic.
That's problematic.
Because you need trees there.
If we don't address where the flood water or stormwater will be channeled. I mean, you can do anything so long as you address where the water will
I
go.
guess the question is, when you make a development right like that on a slope, is there an artificial or an urban planner or engineering way to address where all that water would now go since you
Yes,
built
of course.
one?
But they
There
will
is.
assume that all the water that falls on that used to be green slope will now be gathered and be channeled into the main drainage system. So there are a lot of assumptions. One is that the drainage system below you can accept all of that water. And in a typhoon, it's a peak event. That means there's a whole lot of water that goes down in a very short time. So if that's the 100-year flood situation, which is now the normal.
Yeah.
So we have to adjust all of our standards for much bigger peak events. So all of these assumptions are wrong. So we have to step back and adjust all of the standards for drainage sizes. But of course, it's better to hold the water as much as possible on the slope. There are ways like the cisterns and the detention and retention ponds in the slopes before it gets down to the areas below your
And
slope.
trees.
Mahal ba yun,
Trees.
Paolo? I'm
Trees.
curious. Mahal ba
Yes,
yun?
there is a cost. Although there is a law that requires supposedly everyone to contain their rainwater, it's never followed. The cisterns are a cost. In Naga, Mayor Lenny is enforcing that and is retrofitting government buildings so we
To have cisterns.
to have cisterns.
The irony is Cebu is struggling with lack of water.
Yes.
And then here they get inundated in 2
Yes.
days.
We have a lot of water that falls on us, but
Yeah.
it all just goes down or
Correct.
floods everyone. It could be contained. We could detain it, retain it, and then use all of that water.
If homes are built, each home is built with a cistern, let's say you're
Yes.
kind of in a flood-prone area, would that help?
Yes, if we just
Because there was this Valdez suggestion, and I was just wondering, to
Yeah.
run it by you, if everyone though brought out Valdez and collected water, it would help.
Well, you have a lot of Valdez. It's you
No,
need a couple of hundred.
You're right. But if
per-
everybody pulled out all their Valdez, it would help.
There should be a better one.
And the
Ang
cistern,
labo naman.
hindi, pero parang they were saying, the scientists were saying, actually it would help. And I was
Yes,
like,
of course,
really?
of course.
What I want to ask Paolo is, what is the national government to do? Should it call for a summit to organize all the government agencies to work in harmony? Parang hindi na pwede, crisis na to eh. We can't,
Yes,
di ba?
one-
We can't let things just happen like
Yeah,
this.
we can't let it happen again,
Yeah,
and
I know.
it's bound to happen again pretty soon with the next one. What's the
Yeah.
name? The
Uwan.
Uwan. So yes, and it
So
has to
who
be
should call it? DNR, DPWH? Sorry, go ahead.
yes, of course.
DPWH, maybe not.
Well, DNR will give us the data and institutions like one led by Mahar, Project NOAA, for all of the data that's required that can then be used hopefully by the DPWH in all of its future interventions. And the projects that the LGUs and the regional development councils, because the LGUs are usually within a regional development area. That's the next best thing to redrawing the political boundaries. Is we do have regional development RDCs
To coordinate.
to coordinate, but they don't coordinate
They're
very
not
well.
What about the comprehensive land use plan?
That-
Okay, I see the
it's-
frustration.
It's flawed because the CLUPs are required per LGU.
yeah.
But in a metropolitan area like the 13 in Cebu, you can't
Iba-iba.
solve your drainage, your problems within your CLUP.
Could they then start with that? Maybe group
They
them?
should, but
May kumukumpas kasi dapat eh. Sino ba yung magkukumpas na yan? I ask because the nation is transfixed by the scandal in DPWH, but this is the result eh. And we should also be, focusing on it.
again, we should go back to the science and data and understand that the three metro regions, Manila, Cebu, and Davao, are different geographically. Manila is a basin that's widespread. Cebu is linear, so you have Danao, Compostela, Lilon, Consolacion. They're nakahilera sila, north to south. So it's a slightly different dynamics of where the water flows. So it's not a one solution for everyone. Everything is different. So we have to rely on the science and gather the data. Most of the data is already there. Project NOAA has been gathering the data.
The scientists are there.
The scientists are there, but they're not listened to.
Yeah.
The National Academy of Science, the one
And
in
technology, NAST.
Yes, before Tony Yulo left the DNR, we had a couple of conferences that was trying to address that, and one of the main speakers in those was Yusek CP David, who was explaining to everyone that DNR has the data, they're collecting it as we speak every day. The data is available. It's just that nobody uses or pays attention to the data. And we should use this data in fleshing out a master plan for drainage for all of the metro regions.
For
and
water.
then from that, then the programs can be identified. Ang problema natin is we're doing the projects first before the planning.
Paolo, I wanted to go back to that Monterrazas. It was actually Attorney Jess Falces who pointed to that project
Oh,
as the
okay.
cause of the inundation. But years back, Slater Young already clarified that they will listen to the public. They're even in the process of obtaining green building certification to prove that they're compliant with environmental standards.
I find
But-
the green
yeah.
building, it's problematic depending on which green building format you use. And often, because it's localized within the boundaries of your site, it does not take the context of the larger area into consideration.
Pwedeng yung building green.
You can-
Pero
you-
sinira niya yung paligid.
Yung,
Pwede ba
yung,
yung
con-
ganon
yung
niya?
konteksto is different from the building. The building can be very green, but it sheds the water to everybody else. And again, they may not have been at fault because they made the assumptions which are based on standards which now have to be redone.
So kailangan ng reforms din dyan. I
We have to,
mean,
yes, we have to reformat, reset all of our standards because they don't work anymore. The 100-year floods, the minimum dimensions, pati yung standards. Of course, the standards for DPWH, most people agree that they don't follow standards. It's obvious that a lot of the work is substandard. It's obvious. It's
What's a perfect example for you for an intervention? A lot of people are pointing to BGC's water detention tank.
Oh yes, that's
as a
over-the-top
good-
intervention, but they made sure.
Ilang swimming pool size
I
yun?
think
Yes,
it's like
underneath.
8 Olympic
8
size.
Olympic size.
But that was based on
100-year flood data. Which
yeah.
may be, again, you said,
Babe Simpson's assumption that you assume nothing will work outside of you, so you contain it yourself.
So in
which
a
is-
vacuum.
kaya too much.
Which is
Which is
what
good.
A lot of the better developers will assume, so that they don't compromise the value of the properties they develop. But we can't do that all the time, and it just negates the contract we have with government that they should take care of us, right? That's the
May low-hanging fruit ba? Very quickly.
no. One thing we have to accept is that it's a complicated problem. But if we don't start addressing it and accepting the complexity of it all, and the need for the science, the data, the planning, and the
this-
implementation, all of these stages,
This might
then
be
we
too
will.
late, but in February next year, Picard and UP Los Baños are organizing a conference for government agencies to harmonize their approach. Kasi nga, like DPWH apparently doesn't listen to what the DNR says, or, you know, what they're not working together kasi.
A lot of us consultants have horror stories about working for LGUs, and then always asking that the DPWH be there. And more often than not, they just send their lower rank officials who can't say anything, can't commit anything, and at the end of the day, almost not cooperate at all. I mean, they march to the sound of their own drummer. Is that right? Anyway, so if we had that harmonization,
But this is led by the academe, see? Not the government. Pero better siguro, better nga, because, well, government's not doing anything. National government.
National government
National.
is trying to take the right direction, and with Sec Vince on top of DPWH, hopefully that's a start. And then everybody, of course, now more conscious of it. They, thanks to people like yourselves, the public is schooled on what the issues are, and then we can make informed decisions, especially in the next election.
Well, thank you, but we are so frustrated because we can only ask the questions. That's it.
I wish we could do something.
Well, so long as we bring it out to the public and make everyone know, and of course now with social media and your media, the traditional media, we see the effects of all of the mistakes that has happened over the last few decades.
Yeah.
But it's all building up. We have to realize that all of our urban areas are urbanizing at a high rate. We have to contain all of that. which goes back again to legislation and the fact that we have not yet passed our a National Land Use Act for so many reasons, I'm sure you know, because agendas of some developers are not in tune with what the Land Use Act is supposed to help us with. So legislation, science, and then keep on reporting.
All right. We thank you for your time. That was Cebuano who's with us. Paolo Alcazaren, environmental planning expert. Thank you for joining the Big Story.
Thank you.
We're just going to take a quick break, but coming up, we're catching up with General Nicolas Torre III, who is now busy with his advocacies after being dismissed as the country's top cop. The former PNP chief is joining us live in the studio when the Big Story returns. Keep it here on One News.
Welcome back to the Big Story. Since his abrupt relief as PNP chief, General Nicolas Torre III has been on a leave of absence. That LOA, though, has ended last October 31, but during the time he was on vacation, General Torre kept himself busy pursuing his personal advocacies, one of which is a campaign against bullying, which the former top cop said he was also a victim of. Question is, what are the former PNP chief's plans now? Well, he's here live in our studio. We'll get to ask him. General Torre, welcome to the Big Story. Thank you for coming over. Marami ka ng time on your hands ngayon.
Yes, ma'am. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. At magandang gabi sa inyong mga taga-panood at taga-pakinig.
Tapos na yung inyong leave, may position po bang binigay sa inyo?
Wala. Nasa pihaw pa rin ako. Personal holding unit.
What's it like adjusting to, floating status from someone who was, commanding how many?
220,000.
220,000 policemen.
It happened several times in my career. May mga transitions naman eh. So from one position to another, usually may mga transition yan, 6 months. Before I was appointed as Comel ng Marilibo sa Quezon City, 6 months din na wala akong ginagawa nun. Yeah. So ganun talaga. Ganun talaga ang karir ng polis.
Pero dapat sabi merong i-offer sa inyong position. What happened?
As of the moment, wala pa. So I'm just waiting for the order of the President. Dahil presidential appointee ako. So he can put me where he deems proper or where he deems needed. He can always give me the order.
Okay. Tomorrow, General, there will be an appeal for the government to form a truth commission to look into extrajudicial killings. Are you in favor of that, being a senior official of the PNP?
I think
the formation of a truth commission.
I think the search for truth is always good. Kasi lalo na yan sa issue ng extrajudicial EJKs. So during the time nga nang ako'y chief PNP, isa yan sa mga first priority ko na ginawa na may programa akong nakabalangkas na. Actually, tapos na yun. For implementation na ng sana. Yung transitional justice. Re-examining the deaths in the drug war. And then tingnan kung maimbestigahan, makompensate yung mga namatayan.
You were ready for that, even if that will unearth a can of worms sa organization?
Yeah, sinabihan ko naman ng mga kasamahan ko. Dahil hindi naman para sila i-persecute, kundi para isarado rin. Kasi parang palaging may question dyan eh. May Damocles sword palagi dyan pag hindi natapos at hindi na-close yan eh. Remember, kung yan ay may diferensya, 20 years yan, pwedeng i-file yan bago ang mga grave offenses, 20 years bago mag-prescribe. So, you just cannot sweep it under the rug. Kasi pag may dumating namang bago ulit, talagang kakalkalin yan. It can be brought to surface.
Do you think that sentiment is shared by the current Chief PNP and the organization?
Well, I just don't know kung ano ang programs ngayon. No? Pardon me, I would rather defer my opinions. Tanungin nyo na lang sila.
Okay. May usap-usapan, and I would like to ask you point blank, General, na there are those who believe na sa inyo nakatago si Gutesa, yung witness against former Speaker Martin Romualdez. Not just him, but the drivers and all the other staff of former Congressman Zaldy Co. May katotohanan ba yung ganong usapan? Did they approach you at all?
Saan naman galing yan at you're giving me too much credit. I may help pag hiningian ako ng tulong. Pero sa ngayon, I just don't see myself in there.
So, you were never approached?
I don't think that I have any business in that.
But you did, before the September 21 march, you did film a video and posted on social media that you were against corruption, denouncing the flood control scandal.
Not exactly na may opinion ako regarding sa mga iskandalong to, sa mga investigasyon to. Ang sinabi ko lang doon sa aking video na yon is I do acknowledge na galit na ang mga tao sa korupsyon. At sino nga naman ang hindi galit sa korupsyon? Meron ba namang gusto ang korupsyon? Wala na. And then, people are tired na rin, pagod na rin sa mga hindi natupad na mga pangako. So, ang sa akin lang, dahil yun ay the next day ay yung September 21 na, I just reminded people that it is okay to express their displeasure. It is okay to just go out there and express their opinions. Pero niremind ko na let's do it mahinahon, may pagtitimpi, and most importantly, within the bounds of the law at recognizing also the rights of the other people.
Kaya nga, kung linapitan kayo ng witness na nangangamba sa kanyang safety, tutulong ba kayo?
Ay, pag may magawa ako, bakit hindi?
Pero wala pang
Basta
lumalapit.
anything that will help people.
Pero-
Yan naman ang instinct natin eh.
Okay, may lumapit na ba?
Sa mga tao wala. It's none of my business, you know.
But would it be, sorry for asking General, would it be in your personal capacity or would it be in your official capacity since technically you're still part of the police force?
Yeah.
Yes.
Technically, I'm part of the police force. Ano naman ang power ko as of the moment? Pihaw nga ako eh.
4-star general, sir.
I can't give the order, okay? My order has no power.
So if let's just pretend or speculate, if that were, what would you do if you were confronted with that kind of situation? You would surrender the person to the proper authorities. Parang ganon. Ganon ang gagawin nyo.
For
Kunyari,
example,
isang
For example,
witness na nangangamba sa kanyang safety dahil may ibubulgar tungkol sa
whistleblower?
Yes, a whistleblower.
Case-to-case
Correct.
basis eh. Kasi the government has mechanisms to protect such kind of people.
Okay.
So, andyan naman eh, gumagana naman, nakikita naman natin in public, may mga witnesses na nasa witness protection program ngayon. So, they can avail of that.
General,
Bakit ako?
what's your plan? You still have a year and a half to go
Yeah.
before your retirement and before kung kunwari no hindi mag-bear fruit itong appointment from Malacanang, would you be considering early retirement so you can pursue your personal things?
Yeah, that's one of the options. Realistic options yan. I've been doing this since 1991. So, maybe it's time to hang up the uniform and do something else.
So you're still in the process of deciding?
Hinintay ko lang ang mga orders ng aking superiors. If they order me to retire, then so be it.
They can order you to retire?
Yeah?
They can, I think. That's one of the options that can be presented.
Shouldn't that come from you?
Yes. Can you be forced to retire?
You know, maraming mga dynamics dyan eh. So, interpersonal relations, bakit sa private sector, ganun din naman eh. Di ba? Sa private sector, ganun din naman eh. Interpersonal relations yan eh. Those are dynamics of the job. Napaka-complex yan para ipasok sa isang maliit na kahon na i-simplify into these choices, that choices, these other choices. Medyo, it's more complicated than that.
Okay.
General, how would you assess or describe your personal relations or interpersonal relations now with the administration?
I'm okay. pinagbigyan naman ako mag-leave ng 2 buwan. And now, I'm here. Doing some of my advocacies. Teka muna, baka makalimutan yung itanong.
Oo nga.
Mamaya, General.
Run against the bullies. Takbo laban sa mga bully.
We'll talk about that later, General. Na yung
Baka makalimutan i-plug ko na.
takbo laban sa mga bullies. Pero bago yan, General, speaking of takbo,
Yeah.
maraming usap-usapan na rin na baka kayo daw po ay tumakbo in 2028. And you were recently seen in an event of the Liberal Party. What were you doing there, General? Nung oath-taking ng ilang miyembro ng Liberal Party?
Pinuntahan ko isang kaibigan ko because after ng bagyo na tumama doon sa Masbate, may member sila na tinamaan who happens to be a good friend of mine. So pinuntahan
Local
ko.
government official? Ng Masbate?
Nasa private
Okay.
yung kaibigan ko. So pinuntahan namin, nagdala kami ng konting tulong, 3 barangay, 2 sa mismong barangay nila sa Aroroy. Yung pangalan ay,
Masbate
yung
was
pangalan ay
severely
Pinanaan,
hit,
at saka
oo.
yung Syndicate, ganda ng pangalan, Barangay Syndicate at Barangay Pinanaan, Aroroy, Masbate. And then, merong sa Barangay Nursery sa Masbate City mismo. So, nagbigay kami ng mga konting
Ayuda. Pero
ayuda.
hindi mo ba naisip?
Oath-taking?
And
Iba
then,
yung
after
oath-taking.
that, nang matapos yun, she invited me sa event ng Liberal Party. Sabi niya, ito, pag walang kurap, walang mahirap, can we invite you to join us to watch the proceedings? Tapos na makita ko na ando naman nagsalita si Senator Kiko at saka si Senator Laila, ay sabi ko sa kanya, makapanood nga.
Hindi
And,
niyo ba naisip na
yun,
mag-viral kayo? I mean,
Those are the things na, well, kung interesado ang tao sa mga ginagawa ko, I really don't see anything wrong with that. Na, di ba, we have to hear all sides.
Nadadalas na kasama nyo ang mga mamamayang liberal.
Hindi naman. Well, sila siguro dahil nasa forefront sila ngayon sa maraming mga events na sa mga organization, sa mga organizing. Pero nagkakataon lang, hindi lang naman liberal ang nasasamahan ko. Yun lang siguro ang kursunada ng media.
so hindi ka nila nilalapitan?
Diba?
Hindi ka nila sinusuyo?
Kasi, di ba? Kasi,
Hindi ka nila
kita mo,
sinusuyo.
let's make it controversial. Kasi pulis ako, and, they are left of center. So, makita na, teka muna, pag nagsama. Pagkasama ko naman, ang ibang mga kasama ko, lagi naman ako nakakita sa mga kapareho kong mga opisyal din, sa ibang mga organization din, yung mga kaibigan ko sa Eagle, sa Rotary, and
Siyempre, karaniwan yun.
Karaniwan yun.
If you go to a political event,
So, ibig sabihin, it's not the only thing that I'm doing right
Pero
now.
what's your question? Did he
Yun
answer
lang
your
ang
question,
napansin
Pauline?
ko.
You did not answer the question.
Na?
Sinusuyo po ba kayo? Ng kahit anong partido na sumali
Tatakbo
sa
ako?
kanila? Yes po.
Opo, tatakbo po ako. November 16, Greenfield City, Santa Rosa. Takbo, laban sa mga bully.
Okay,
Huwag niyong
tatakbo ng
kalimutan.
fun run, pero yung tatakbo sa 2028 elections, and let's put it categorically.
Napakatagal pa ng eleksyon.
Nandun ba yung konting seed in
Are
your
you
mind?
open, General?
Una, wala akong pera. Okay? I just don't have the resources for it. Second is, parang paalam muna ako sa pamilya ko because I have already promised to my children. Ang panganay kong anak, pinanganak yan ng September 2001. October 2001, na-deploy ako sa East Timor. Nagkita kami, dahil walang balikan yon 20 months yon. Na magkita kami.
Naglalakad
na siya.
Sinasalubong sila sa airport is naglalakad ng anak ko eh. Ganon ang story of
So,
my life.
nangako ka na ano? Anong pinangako
Na
mo?
makabawi man lang sa kanila. Makabawi man lang sa kanila. So, kasi at the end of the day, ano ba talagang kailangan pa natin sa mundong ito? Makatapos lang ang mga anak ko at makagraduate at magkaroon sila ng buhay nilang sarili.
Pero General, may
Enjoy
2 years pa eh. Di ba, bago mag-2028. So you can do that. You can spend time with your children. And you can also run. If somebody, what I mean is, rephrase natin yung question. Are you open to the possibility of running? If someone asks you and you don't have to spend, ganon. Let's say may mekanismo.
Tingnan natin kung sino mag-offer.
Alam mo,
okay.
General,
So,
ako,
open.
I don't doubt that you can raise funds kasi nung boxing match mo, nakapag-raise
exactly.
ka ng
20, magkano million?
21.
21. And then may butal pa, may magkano pa? na
May
nalalabi.
mga, ayan, mga, we're organizing, we're going to Southern Leyte. We're going also to Cebu maybe, but the president is going there tomorrow. After siguro, yung mga, doon na tayo sa mga rebuilding na, sa mga rebuilding na tayo. Ang gobyerno naman natin ay sufficient naman ang ginagawa sa ngayon para immediately magkaroon ng relief ang ating mga kababayan.
Okay, sige,
Doon pupunta yung butal na yung natirang pera.
Okay,
Will be the-
Tama ka, tama yung point mo. Ang laki ng na-raise.
Yes.
Cash pa.
Cash.
Cash. Bayong-bayong ba dumating o paano?
Secret na mga mamaya.
Mali-maleta. Hindi, pero sige, pag-usapan natin,
It's all accounted for.
bakit bullying, General Torre? Na ikaw inakusahan ka na, ikaw daw yung bully, tapos bigla ngayon, this is now your advocacy, bullying.
Ako ang bully, you know.
Depende kung sino
Kita mo
tinanong
naman sa kulay ko. So, just imagine nung bata pa ako. Di ba? So, ano ang tausan? Kung anong, you know, words that I say on TV. Because, you know, international tayo. Iba ang dating sa ibang mga lahi. No? But just the same, pangit din sa kanila ang dating nun. No? And then, mga anak ko, they also experience that. May isang time na ang anak ko talagang, alam ko, talagang binubuli. So,
Because of you? Or because of your
not
position?
me, because,
it
you know,
was,
nagkataon na malaking bata yung anak ko. You know, at the end of the day, pag nagalit nga ang bully, akala ko nga kung ano pa ang magawa niya dun sa classmate niya na pagkalit na bully. So those are the things na nag-spur sa akin para i-surface ito. Pag tinignan natin ang statistics, while alam natin hindi kompleto ang statistics yan, more than half of our youth, especially sa schools, ang nakakaranas o nakaranas ng bullying in one form or another. Tapos, sa workplace, hindi lang sa mga bata ngayon. Hindi na ko confine sa bata yan. Meron sa mga workplace, meron sa community, and most especially,
Sa
nandiyan
gobyerno.
sa cyberspace.
Saan?
Yes.
A cyberspace.
Cyberbullying.
And lately, di ba, hindi lang natin masabi nga, very fresh pa ang sakit sa pamilya. Hindi ko na lang sasabihin, pero may bullying na humantong sa hindi mabuting resulta because somebody really get hurt very, very badly,
Do you
including the
handle
family.
a lot of bullying cases, cyber or otherwise, as a cop? Bilang pulis, marami bang nagsusumbong na, Chief, binuli ako, ganon. Umaabot ba sa ganon?
Actually, yung bullying, hindi bullying ang term na ginagamit. Sir, sinuntok ako ng ganito. Sir, sinampal ako. Sir, ninakaw ito.
Humantong na sa physical.
Yeah. So, dulo na lang nakikita natin. Pero yung lead up, bago marating ang dulo na yon, ay hindi na nadidiscuss. And that's bullying. So, yun ang ating gustong i-surface na mabigyan ng atensyon at masolusyonan natin. Because ang nakita natin, I learned early na pag binuli ka, hindi ikaw ang problema. Hindi lang kaagad nakikita ng nabubulian. Nagkakaroon ng negative impact agad sa mga nabubulian. Pero dapat maintindihan nila na pag binuli ka, hindi ikaw ang may problema. Okay? And bullying is something that, or is a phenomenon or a situation in their lives that they did not face alone. Nandito tayo, nandito ang media, nandito ang DSWD, sa workplace naman, andyan ang workplace safety, and many other offices na pwedeng makatulong sa
So
kanila.
this fun run is to raise awareness
Yes.
and raise funds.
No. Actually, we are living on donations ng ating mga sponsors. Number one dyan, ang Frutas. We have other sponsors there na nandyan naman sa website ko. And Frutas is Balay Pandesal is giving us a very, very good sponsorship there. And na-realize din, na-recognize nila na
How many
this is a
sign-ups
worthwhile.
have you gotten?
Sa ngayon, mga 600. Ang,
600.
as of the
What's
moment.
your goal?
2,000. Ililimit namin sa 2,000 kasi meron kaming mga first time namin. And then, relatively new ang aming organizer. Kaya sabi namin, 2,000 muna, baka mabilookan tayo. So, it's
Pwede
not
pa
enough
humabol, General.
May 1,400
May
slots
runner
pa.
tayong kilala.
Yes, may kilala ako, General. Papasahin
Ano
ko naman
mga
dyan.
divisions or what do you... Yeah.
This is a
Distances.
this is a very exclusive
Boxing.
event. This is a very inclusive event. May 500-meter walk. 500 meter walk. So,
Kaya ko yun.
para sa lahat yun. Then
Sa mga
3 kilometer
seniors.
run, we have 3, 5, and 10.
Kayo general, sa 10K?
Maybe we run, maybe I run 5K.
5K.
5K. All right. One final question. Have you been asked to testify if ever the case will push through in the ICC against former President Duterte? Have you been asked?
I actually have given my deposition already. So, I'm just waiting kung kailan nila ako ipipresent sa ICC case. And then also Kibuloy case na postpone lang ang hearing last time.
But you are ready to testify as well?
I'm going to testify also in the next parang 2 weeks from now. Not sure. Hindi ko matandaan ng exact date ng aming hearing. So, I'll be testifying rin. Obligasyon natin yun at ito yung dapat na paraan. Kung may nakita tayong mali, we seek redress sa proper forum. And the proper forum is always the courts. Hindi yung kalsada.
Pero, tatakbo tayo sa kalsada.
Yeah. We'll do. Greenfield City is a very good place para sa pamilya. And you can run there, and then after that, family day. It's a Sunday. So,
Maraming kainan.
it's a Sunday after the sweldo. So, 16 November 16. So, again,
These are
invite ko lahat.
actions of someone who wants to still be in the public sphere and who may be, considering another kind of run. We thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.
Former PNP Chief, Police General Nicolas Torre III. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right, we're just going to be pausing for another breather, but after that, resigned Congressman Zaldy Co is willing to face corruption allegations against him, but only until threats on his life let up. We have the details of that next. Keep it here on One News.
You're still watching the big story here on One News. Resigned Congressman Zaldy Co has responded to allegations against him, even calls for him to come home. He did so through his lawyer. Attorney Rui Rondain held a media briefing today where he said he does not know where Co is. But the lawyer said his client is not in hiding, but is not likely to come forward anytime soon.
He's deathly afraid of coming home because may serious threats to his life. One half of the country wants to throw him in jail and throw away the key. The other half wants to string him up by the nearest tree. Would you come home under those circumstances? Ako personally, ang bigger fear ko is vigilante violence. Because nga everyone hates him.
Zaldy Co is facing several complaints in connection with the flood control corruption scandal. These include malversation of public funds, bribery, and graft and corruption. Rondain says they will no longer issue counter affidavits to these complaints since they feel the Office of the Ombudsman has made up its mind on Co.
My thinking is the Ombudsman has already prejudged this case. And this is bolstered by the statements of Secretary Vince Dizon, who said 60 people will be in jail by Christmas. Under these circumstances, there's really no tactical benefit to filing a counter affidavit. I've not seen any complaint, no? Kasi a criminal investigation has to be initiated by a complaint. Meron o kayo nakitang complaint? Anyone? When I say complaint, I mean something that has been sworn to under oath. And the only thing I've heard is that the ICI has referred its tentative findings to the Ombudsman. I don't think it's under oath. I don't know what he's supposed to answer.
Rondain also denied the allegations against Co from Orly Gutesa's cash delivery claims to the former lawmaker's billion-peso air assets. Rondain says Co will formally answer these charges once he feels safe to return.
Huwag naman chismis, huwag naman speculation because hindi tatayo in a court of law.
Would you say, sir, ito po yung isa sa mga sinabi nyo kanina na narrative na skewered?
Yes, because who's saying na mayroon deliveries? Did they see my client receive the delivery of money? I'll even reduce it to an absurdity, Is it possible na may utang lang sila at nagbayad sila? I understand that any aircraft related to him is owned by Mitsubishi Aviation. Na separate si Mr. Ko sa Mitsubishi. You should ask the lawyer of Miss Ibis. I'm not the lawyer. But see, yan na yung yan na yung isang misinformation na malaki. That's the reason we're here. Because Secretary Dizon keeps saying na i-freeze lahat yan, i-confiscate yan. If you look at his SALN, Miss Ibis Aviation was incorporated in 2004, 2008. Now, Zaldy Co became a congressman in 2019.
In other news, Think Muna Pilipinas held its first Philippine Media and Information Literacy Conference, or MILCON 2025. It gathered media leaders, educators, and policymakers to tackle disinformation and promote critical thinking in the age of AI. Mobile journalist Francis Rivera with this report.
SMX Aura was filled with discussions from the panelists of Think Muna Pilipinas in collaboration with UNESCO at MILCON 2025 last Tuesday, November 4. MediaQuest and Signal President and CEO Jane Jimenez Basas urged different sectors to unite in combating disinformation and misinformation.
Illiteracy issues in the Philippines, particularly among grade school students, it's not an easy thing to solve. Our role in the media sector is to ensure that the information is given out there and that the conversation continues to happen across all sectors and across the entire Philippines.
Senate Committee Chairman for Basic Education, Science and Technology, Senator Bam Aquino, was the key speaker.
Marami po sa mga kabataan natin, sa kanila nanggagaling yung galit. Sila po yung nagsabi na hindi dapat i-normalize ang korupsyon. Lahat tayo dito nagbabayad ng buwis and we deserve these services in our country.
In an interview, Senator Bam Aquino expressed his support for the advocacy of Think Muna Pilipinas.
Napakahalaga po ng media literacy sa panahon ngayon na maraming fake news, misinformation, disinformation. Yung pagkakaroon po ng media literacy sa ating mga eskwelahan, yan po yung defense ng ating mga kabataan.
In the opening segment of the panel discussion centered on the complex issues in education and the importance of integrating MIL into the curriculum. The second part of the discussion focused on the role of media in combating fake news and upholding the truth. The final part of the discussion mainly focused on technology, specifically on building an AI-literate digital citizenry. MediaQuest Chairman Manny V. Pangilinan highlighted in his closing remarks that even amid false information, people continue to pursue and value the truth.
Maraming bumabaltos sa katotohanan, pero mas madami tayo mas gusto ang katotohanan. Let us not grow weary of the work of discernment. Let us invite more Filipinos into this alliance of truth seekers.
He added that the main advocacy of the MILCON is for the truth, especially in an age where information comes mainly from social media.
Really an advocacy for the truth, no? The truth in media generally. So both the legacy media that we're familiar with, the newspapers, free-to-air television, and even pay TV, and of course now the internet, which is now dominating the media space.
Well, the way I think to look at AI from the point of view of a journalist is that it's yet another powerful tool. So the key here is to learn how to use that tool. And AI is certainly one of those tools that's going to be very helpful for you as long as you use it ethically, and responsibly.
So before you post or share information online, mga kapatid, mobile journalist Francis Rivera, we are One News.
Okay, and before we go, Filipino New Yorkers celebrate the win of their new mayor, 34-year-old Democratic Socialist Zoran Mamdani. Our big picture tonight are images from that victory. Volunteer-led Filipinos for Zoran rallied behind Mamdani's progressive platforms to amplify voices of Pinoys in New York. They were instrumental in Mamdani garnering over 1 million votes, defeating former Governor Andrew Cuomo, who's backed by President Donald Trump. The group took their campaign to Instagram, posting jeepney placard-inspired posters. But they also incorporated funny Tagalog memes, encouraging fellow kababayans to join the Democratic candidates' platforms. Mamdani is the very first Muslim and Asian mayor of the biggest U.S. city. And voters up and down the East Coast delivered Democrats a sweep on Tuesday's elections, including Representative Mikey Sherrill in New Jersey and Abigail Spanberger in Virginia, who is the first woman to serve as the state's governor.
It's great to see Pinoys being instrumental in an upset like that.
Yeah.
No, making
that's what they were saying,
Pinoys, making our presence felt, finally.
And dapat dito rin, di ba? We should learn from the Filipino New Yorkers. But I love how the fonts that they used were very Pinoy. Parang jeepney font.
Oo.
Referendum nga daw kay Trump. Itong
Galing ng mga Pinoy.
Okay, and for this midweek, that's it for the big story. Thank you so much for watching.
We are back here tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. See you then.
Kapatid, we are One News, all sides, all the time. Have a good night.